Hey folks, here with your video update for this week. This will be the final video update that I make as the senior pastor here at Spring Hill Presbyterian Church. I've been thinking a lot about this season of transition, of course, for y'all and for myself. My family has moved already up to Greenville, South Carolina, and I'll be joining them next week following my last Sunday, this Sunday, June 12th. I've been thinking a lot about final things and about times of transition, and it's been surprising to me how many unexpected moments of grace and glimpses of joy have come as I've seen this sort of holy symmetry. Something about the last 2 or 3 weeks, there are many either topics or conversations or relationships with people, ideas that were a part of my beginning of ministry here that seem to have come back in sort of a bookend kind of way, in a really joyful, grace-filled way. So I thought, in keeping with that I would record this final video update here in our conference room at the church, because this is the first room that I ever saw at Spring Hill Pres. Before I had even seen the sanctuary, before I had seen the physical church building, it was this room that was my first visual exposure, actually through a video, through not a recorded video, but a video conferencing. So when I was interviewing back in 2013 with the pastor nominating committee, we had one-on-one phone calls with a couple folks, and then had a phone interview with a couple more folks. But the first time I met the whole committee, the group that was elected by this church to conduct the search for the next pastor, was through a Zoom interview. I think it was Zoom. It might have been some other Skype or some other video technology at the time. But so anyway, here in the conference room is where the committee gathered and they met. And so when it was time for the video interview, I was back actually in South Carolina at the time, in my office there. And I was videoing with the folks on the committee, and they had a laptop sitting on the table just like I do right now. And they took turns, one at a time, coming sitting in the chair facing the computer. They'd ask their question and then they'd move on. I came back to this room to have the full formal interview with the committee in person when I was here later in that summer. And then it was in this room, the conference room, that the first staff meeting occurred, many other important meetings, session meetings and others. And so I thought this was sort of a holy symmetry special place to be for this final video. I started doing these videos a number of years ago when we had our capital campaign. We had launched a capital campaign, and the goal was to do a lot of updates, but in particular the biggest ticket item on our campaign wish list was installing a new HVAC system for the whole main building and the Eddington building. And so I realized there were going to be a lot of interruptions to the regular order and flow. There were spaces that were going to be really mixed up and messed up as the work was getting done. And so rather than just having that be something negative, I thought, well, let's let this be something positive. Let's celebrate. And so each week I would give an update on what's happened on the HVAC system this week, whether it was pipes installed underground or the duct work installed or any number of different pieces. Anyway, that was going well, and it was sort of a fun way to keep folks apprised of what was happening. And then someone in the church rightfully said, well, if you're talking about giving us these video updates about the air conditioning system, well, what about the mission? What about education? What about worship? Why don't you do some videos on other things? And that's how we got this whole system launched, this pattern, I should say, of most weeks having a weekly video update. So for the last one, I thought, for everyone, but especially for any of you who aren't going to be able to be in worship for this Sunday, the last Sunday that I'll be in the pulpit, I wanted to share with you the hymn that we'll sing at the end of worship. The last closing hymn will be "Blessed Be the Tie That Binds." It's one of my favorite hymns. It's a great hymn about unity and our connection to one another. But it's also interesting, the history of this hymn. It was actually written by an English, I believe he was a Baptist minister, back in 1782. I'm cheating. I'm looking at our hymnal, which has wonderful notes at the bottom to tell you these sorts of historical things. Anyway, it was written by a Baptist minister who was being called away to serve a different congregation. And he wrote this hymn about being united with one another in Christian unity to express how he felt to his church family as he was leaving. And so I thought it's perfectly fitting words, but also story to convey this time of transition in worship. But I want to read you two of the verses, the first and then the fourth verse. Blessed be the tie that binds our hearts in Christian love. The fellowship of kindred minds is like to that above. It's a wonderful reminder that the tie, the cord, the rope, the connection between our hearts is one. The one tie that binds our hearts in Christian love is the tie of the Holy Spirit that binds us together. And then the fourth stanza, when we are called to part, it gives us inward pain, but we shall still be joined in heart and hope to meet again. So this stanza here, this fourth stanza of the hymn, reminds us that even in times of transition like these, even as we are physically going to be removed from one another, we are always bound together. We're always united because it is the one love of God that unites us all. Jesus tells us, I am the vine, you are the branches. He is the vine and we are the branches that come off. It's a reminder that we're all connected to Christ, but in telling us that, it's also a reminder that we who are many and who are diverse and who are scattered all around the world are also always united to one another, even when we're apart, because we're united to Christ and his love binds us together. So I thought that would be a fitting reminder. I'm not just telling you that, I'm telling myself that as I get ready for this final Sunday and these final season of goodbyes and transition. Know, of course, that I'll be holding you in my prayers, keeping you in my heart as you continue on in the faithful mission and ministry of this wonderful, loving, serving, caring, singing, learning church family. I hope if you haven't had a chance to do so yet that you'll read the summer newsletter, the church newsletter for June and July. It has some more intentional words written there about my holding you in my prayers, as well as reminders about the ethics of pastoral transition and just some good reminders to pay attention to. All right, folks, thanks. It's been a wonderful gift to be with you in this way on video, and I can't wait to watch and listen and celebrate what God is up to in your midst for years and years and years to come. Thanks. Bye.